So there's a lot of hype around Gilberto Mora, and I guess it's for a reason. It's not just because he's young. It's not just because he plays for Mexico. It's not just because European clubs are being linked with him. The real reason people are excited is because he plays like someone older than he is. That is the part that stands out. Some young players look exciting because they are fast or because they are strong. Some look exciting because they can beat players 1v1. Mora's a little bit different. He looks exciting because of how quickly he can see the game. First touch, body shape, the little pause before the pass, the way he receives between lines and already knows where the next space is. That is why I wanted to look at him properly, because Gilberto Mora is not just another Wonderkid with a few clips. He is a midfielder who looks like he understands tempo, space, and decision making at such a ridiculous age. And when you watch him, the phrase that comes to mind is simple. He is 10 steps ahead. So Mora is a 17-year-old Mexican midfielder currently playing for Club Tijuana, and he is mainly an attacking midfielder or a central midfielder, but he has also been used higher, wider, and between the lines. That matters because he's not really in a fixed position. He's more of an attacking connector. Sounds weird, right? But he's someone who can receive in midfield, turn, combine, carry, and arrive around the box. And the numbers already show why people are paying attention. Across the stats, you guys can see he's played 20 times, 6 goals, and 1 assist. Now, for a player this young playing senior football, that's kind of serious. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is pretty decent, but the goals are not the full story. Because when you watch Mora, his game is not just about end product. It's about how he gets involved. He wants the ball. He can play in tight spaces. He can combine with runners. He can drift into pockets. And he has that thing that top attacking midfielders need when they're at that kind of elite level. He makes the game slow down. Not because he's slow, but because his brain is very, very quick. So when we're talking about his style of play, I reckon the best way to describe Mora is he's an attacking midfielder who creates advantages. Sounds simple, but it ain't. Because some players pass after the advantage is already there. Mora helps create it. He does that with his first touch. He does it with the body feints, as I mentioned. He does it with quick combinations. He does it by receiving in the half space and forcing defenders to make a choice. Step to him and he can bounce it around the corner. Stand off him and he can carry into the next zone. Close the passing lane and he can shift the ball and find another angle. And that is why he is difficult to defend. He doesn't need to beat 3 players to hurt you. Sometimes it's one touch, sometimes it's a wall pass, sometimes it's a small turn that takes a midfielder out of the game. That is where the Iniesta and Pedri style comparisons kind of come from. Not because he's already at that level, of course he's not, but because of the way he plays between pressure. He's not a power player, he's not built like a monster, he's more of a rhythm player. Small spaces, quick feet, small movement, constant scanning, and that ability to receive when other players would hide. That is probably the most impressive thing at his age. He doesn't look like he's scared of the ball. He wants that responsibility. And when the game gets crowded, he still tries to play. That is why when you look at his heat map, it kind of makes sense. He's active through central attacking zones, half spaces, and around the edge of the box. He isn't just hugging one side of the pitch. He's moving where he can influence the next action. Sometimes he starts wider, sometimes he comes inside, sometimes he drops closer to midfield, sometimes he arrives late around the box. It's all about the movement, which is a big part of his game, because he's not just waiting for the service, he's trying to connect everything. And that is why stylistically, he looks more than just a final third player. He can help build attacks, but he can also finish them. That balance is what makes him interesting. When you look at the uploaded numbers now, it shows 19 shots, 4 goals, and 2.5 XG. Again, it's quite efficient. He's not just shooting constantly from poor areas, he's picking moments. He also has a 37% shot accuracy. Not elite, of course, but decent enough for a young attacking midfielder who is still finding his senior rhythm. And that player trait profile puts him in the 94th percentile for touches and 95th percentile for chances created compared to other forwards. That is the headline, because it tells you what the eye test already says. He's involved, creating. He's not just a moments player. He wants to be part of the structure of the attack. That is rare for a teenager. Now, looking at his passing numbers, need a bit of context. He has 226 successful passes at 86.9%. For me, that's clean. He also has 10 chances created and 3 big chances created in the league. So he's already producing final third passes, but the volume is still developing. He's not yet a senior level controller who dominates every game for 90 minutes. That's probably going to be too much to expect, because he's still learning how to stay involved when teams press him, when games become physical, and when he is not finding easy pockets. That's one of his weaknesses. At times he can drift, not because he lacks quality, because he's still learning how to impose himself consistently. There is a difference between showing talent and controlling matches. Mora, at this moment in time, is showing the talent. The next step is control. Can he keep demanding the ball? Can he dictate the tempo? Can he survive when bigger, stronger midfielders target him? Can he keep making good decisions when the pace of the game goes up? That's going to decide how high a level he actually gets to. Because the dribbling is useful, but again, it's not winger-style dribbling. He's not like an Antonio Nusa, for example, where the whole thing is built around wide 1v1 carries. Mora's dribbling is more about escape. 6 successful dribbles at 46.2%. He uses it to get out of pressure, not to constantly run at fullbacks, because that matters. Because if you judge him like a winger, you'll miss the point. He's a midfielder who uses close control to open passing lanes, not a winger who uses dribbling as the main event. Physically, of course, he's still developing. He won 41 duels at 51.9%, which is respectable. He also wins fouls, which tells you defenders are having to step into him. But the aerial numbers, listen, they're not strong, and that's fine. He's quite short. That's not really his game either. You know, he's a ground-based technician. Receive, turn, combine, create, arrive. That's the profile. And defensively, there's obviously still work to do because he can press, he can react quickly, he can use his intelligence to close passing lanes, but he's not a defensive monster. And at that next level, you need more intensity without the ball, better positioning when his team loses possession, more physical strength in contact, and more discipline in transition. Listen, he's 17 years of age. The important thing is the high-level stuff is already there. Brain, touch, timing, courage, ability to create chances. Those, I feel, are quite hard to teach. So when it does come to Mora, when I'm looking at him as a whole, yeah, listen, I understand the hype. And for a player who had quite a lot of hype coming into the World Cup, it does kind of make sense. Listen, he's not just a teenager with nice clips. This is a player with a clear football brain, a proper attacking midfielder profile who can receive between the lines and plays with that kind of level of disguise. And Mora is more exciting because he looks ahead mentally. And I feel like that's the difference, especially with a lot of these young players. And that is why the hype does make sense, because he ain't a finished article. He's not ready to be treated like a superstar, in my opinion, yet. But the raw materials are quite obvious. So it does make sense why a lot of Europe are watching him, and quite a lot of the Premier League clubs are taking a hard look at him. Let me know your thoughts about Gilberto Mora in the comment section down below. Is he a player you would like to see pop up at your club this summer? Let me know your thoughts. Keep the same energy. Stay blessed. We'll catch you guys the next one. Peace.